regarding the lawlessness. Jacob, back to you. We talked about the gunfire that many Americans, many Christians don't even realize. Heavy gunfire at the Texas border, right there. I believe it's called Far Reynosa International Bridge, which I've been nearby there a long time ago when I was a kid. But the reality is this is controlled by cartels. These border cities are controlled by the drug cartels on the other side, and it's literally a war. This is not just a metaphor for something happening down there. It is deadly shootouts. They've been filmed. These are border wars, and the cartels are very heavily armed with drones and technology that people only dream of having. But these bullets have hit U.S. custom facilities. They've been shooting at border patrol agents. We're talking about, without, what I just described is basically an invasion and a war. And even Chicago is all up in arms about it because they're getting some of that the flack, bringing in illegal immigrants into their community. So let's talk about those two things: the actual war and fighting that's really happening at the border, and then how it's spilling into other cities like Chicago, which it's nothing like El Paso, but they're not happy with what's going on. Which there's a lot to be said about the Black community there. But Jacob, we'll start with you. We'll go around.
Well, first of all, we have to understand that the way was paved for this kind of on-border confrontation during the Obama administration with Eric Holder, another man who's never been brought to justice, in contempt of Congress, and has never been brought to justice, at least not in this life. But a horrible, horrible figure. This was a long time coming. It's not spontaneous. Now, there was a hiatus, an interruption of it in the policies of the Trump administration. But once Biden came back, he just resumed the policies of Biden. But even, of Obama. But even Obama carried out deportations. Now they've gone beyond that, and they're not carrying out the deportations. Forget about Title 42. Just forget about it. It just doesn't matter. Now, this armed conflict, again, we talking about it on the border. Remember, they want pandemonium. They want people to be so afraid and distraught, they will do what they are told without question. Same as they did in COVID. Just do what you're told and don't question it. Don't question us. Forget about the facts. Trust us, even though we're liars and hypocrites and crooks. That's what it comes to. So defund the police. Okay. You can't have a gun yourself. Stop the Second Amendment. So the cops can't protect you. You can't protect yourself. And then tie the hands of the Border Patrol. Don't let them do their job. So you can bring in even more guns, more crime, more drugs. Again, it has to be deliberate. It has to be deliberate. Now, the mainstream media, of course, is not going to report it. It's corrupt, and it's in the swamp with the politicians and the bureaucrats. CNN and the networks and so forth, MSNBC, they're the voice of the swamp. They're not the voice of truth or of the people or of fair journalism. They're the voice of the swamp. They're not telling people. Notice how it's being underreported, how it is being underreported. They don't want you to be able to defend yourself. They won't even defend the border themselves. They just want this pandemonium. It is
That's right.
Open treason. It is open treason.
Now in Chicago,
you're selling out the foreign interests like China by doing it. Where's the fentanyl coming?
Now, Lightfoot is up in arms about the fact that there's so many illegal migrants coming into Chicago, and even the Black community saying, we didn't sign up for this. They're going to take our jobs. They're going to take everything from us.
Yeah, they're going to take your jobs, and they're going to mess your neighborhood up, and they're going to destroy your voice politically, but don't say you didn't sign up for it. When you voted for Barack Obama, you signed up for it. When you voted for Spritzer, you signed up for it. When you voted for Johnson, you signed up for it. When you voted for Lightfoot, you signed up for it. This is what you signed up for. This is what you voted for. This is what you've got. Quit whinging. You wanted it, you got it, deal with it.
David Lister, you've seen some of the comments by the Black community leaders in Chicago, and they're just shocked. I don't know how they're shocked. I mean, if LeBron James is like their main political figure, and they all go along with what the Democrats want, and this is what the Democrats wanted, what's the big deal?
Well, they say their political voice is going to be taken away because they know in other cities that they're actually now allowing non-citizens to vote. So they're deathly scared of that the Black minority is going to have their voice silent. They won't be politically necessary anymore. That's what they're deathly afraid of, and so they've made themselves stupid by repeating the same error every time, voting for the people that don't help them, but just do the same bad things, keep cities full of crime, keep cities full of all unrighteousness that you can think of. You could see this in Baltimore, you could see it in Detroit, you can see it in Chicago. And I used to work down in there. I did some feeding programs down there where this neighborhood where they just sent 500 immigrants into. And wow, there's just they're up in arms, and the people are scared to death because of the guns and the crime that's coming. And they have a right to scream, but it's too late. It's too late.
I mean, they literally, they did not vote for Lightfoot, but they got somebody else worse than Lightfoot, which is basically a communist open Marxist. Yeah. So it befuddles me, the thinking, hey, we didn't sign up for this, but you did sign up for it. So in the Latin American community as well, when you have here in Los Angeles and California, they vote for stuff like this all the time, and they don't really. Yeah, they really don't. By the way, Jacob, you see Dianne Feinstein coming back to the Capitol Hill. I don't know where they dug her up from, but she looked really bad. She's 89. She's coming back, visibly decrepit, and yet she says she's got a few more years to go. Is Capitol Hill a nursing home now? I mean, you got Biden, you got all these older Democrats, Sanders. Yeah. They're the ones that allowed all this to happen. And is there any age limit? I mean, can we put a cognitive test or some kind of some kind of test for even a drug test? I don't even know people on.
The left wanted a cognitive test for Trump, even though he was mentally coherent and displayed no signs of senility or dementia of any kind. But for Biden, who displays it every day, they don't want it. It's not, the dual standards are as usual. Look, Feinstein is a depraved figure. She's a depraved woman. She was the one who brought out this ridiculous allegation against Kavanaugh from somebody who said he did this when he was 16 at a party in high school, and then they dug this woman out to come out 40, 50 years later, whatever it is, and try to hang him for something they said happened when he was in high school. This was Feinstein, assisted by Hirono, obviously, but this was Feinstein. She's just a despicable woman. I'll be glad to see the end of her. It is almost, I want Jewish people to be saved, but I'm afraid she's going to go the way of Ginsburg. A Jew who dies without her Messiah, and she's going to pay eternally for all the damage she's done.
A very sad thing to see, but a very sad thing for people to think that she's actually competent to do her. She's never been competent. She's been compromised by even the CCP for a while. But anyway, we'll get into that at the end backstage.
Marco,
yeah,
500 people has been sent into this neighborhood down there below 55th, where Obama went to school.
Talking about Chicago.
In Chicago. Yeah. 500. And this is the first day.
Yeah.
A lot more coming. Would they have 10,000 cross the border yesterday? And more flooding in today? 80,000 more coming.
Buses are on their way, Chicago.
Yep. Yeah. And now the Democratic amnesty states, well, you guys get to live up to your promises. We're
Oh,
gonna
man.
see if
You're
what
going to
you're
be a
doing.
sanctuary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gonna be
what a
sanctuary. All
sanctuary.
you guys will be feeling the brunt and the pain of all this that Texas has felt, that the other states
Yeah.
have felt. Only it's gonna be worse because now it's unlimited amount of people coming.
Did you
When a
see the
white
National Guard actually loading people into the buses? I mean, this was
Yeah.
crazy. This is traitor. This is treason. The National Guard loading people up into the bus and sending them up to the states. I've never seen anything like that.
Yep, this is an open betrayal of the national interest by a corrupt government. And there are people stupid enough to vote Biden they'll vote for Biden and vote Democrat again.
The Texas people, the Texas National Guard are putting up barbed wire fence. In the meantime, the government is advising the Mexican government where these refugees should go so they don't encounter the Texas government, that Texas National Guard, that are actually putting up barbed wire and trying to stop it. So we're a
Yeah, they're
nation
using
divided against-
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah, WhatsApp encrypted chat rooms. Jacob, before we switch to technology and AI, because I like what Jay had to say about it because of jobs situation, what's going on. I did want to ask, this is not new in terms of what's happening here in the States. Other countries have suffered it, and you live in England most of the time, and you've seen the boat migrants coming into England all the time. France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany.
Liberal countries of Europe, particularly France, Britain under the Labour Party especially, but not only Labour, France most critically, certainly Sweden. These countries that voted liberal and socialist, they're now reaping what they sowed with Islamic and African immigration, or Afro-Islamic immigration. The rapes, the murders. If you look at one of these countries, take Denmark. One country, Denmark, 70% of the convicted rapists in Denmark are Muslim. But Muslims are only 4% of the population. Yet, and 90% of the victims of raped women are Danish. Well, it's the same, going to be the same. You know, if a liberal Democrat woman in California votes for Biden or Obama, and she gets raped and murdered, I'm not wishing it on her, but don't expect me to feel sorry for her. She got what she voted for. She reaped what she sowed. And that actually happened in Oakland. That's what you want. That's what you got. We warned years ago. We warned years ago, and I warned at the very beginning when we were doing Catching Up, that blacks are not going to be the main minority. Hispanics are now going to have the numbers, and their numbers are increasing. The black people are not going to be the main minority. It's going to be Hispanics. Secondly, Hispanics are more upwardly mobile after 1 to 2 generations than blacks. Blacks will stay the low man on the totem pole as Asians and Hispanics climb the ladder economically. Blacks are going nowhere as a whole. Third thing I warned about, that with the numbers will be a loss of political influence of Black America. They won't be able to stop it. And now they're realizing it. They're realizing what they voted for. You wanted Obama? You got him. You wanted Biden? You got him. Now stop. You wanted Dick Durbin? You got him. Now stop whinging.
The definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Jacob, if you remember, there was a black congressman that supported Biden, and actually, when he was losing, pulled him. I'm trying to recall his name, but if you remember, his endorsement got people rallying around him in the Democratic Party from South Carolina. I'm trying.
Yeah. What's his name?
And their own leaders have betrayed the blacks, have they not?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course. They are the sandbox.